odds on all the big races. Welcome along to What a Shout, brought to you by the Racing Post and sponsored by Betfred. We have got lots to discuss today. And team, it's starting to feel a bit like winter, isn't it? Well, it has done this week.
Yeah.
Robbie?
Getting cold, yeah. You might have noticed I'm wearing long sleeves today.
The shorts and t-shirt have gone.
I'm afraid so, yeah. The legs are covered up.
That's a good thing for all of us, G-Rod, right?
It certainly is. No, I do love this time of year, though, Em. It's great, isn't it? You know, nice, crisp, sunny days.
I like it when we
racing.
have the crisp sun. I find the rest of it depressing, the rain and the dreary grey skies. And then I'm thinking clocks change and it's all a disaster going forwards.
You're very negative today, aren't you?
A little bit.
Oh, dear. No, I love it because we've got jumps coming up soon as well. What, probably a month or so, the jumps will be back, won't it? We've got some big races this weekend, big handicaps. I absolutely love it. Can't wait.
Plenty to look forward to this weekend.
Yes, a lot on.
Newbury and Ayr. We always have that clash, don't we, every year?
A lot of testing ground about. Could be tough work, particularly at Newbury. So we'll see who enjoys it and who doesn't.
We certainly will. Matt, how are you? Welcome along to the programme as always.
Cheers, Emma. Yeah, good. Just recovering still from Doncaster last week. That was a long 4 days, but absolutely fantastic. But I usually go to this Ayr meeting. It's always a brilliant weekend. I think it's bank holiday up there as well, isn't it? So, fascinating up at Ayr, and of course the Silver and the Gold Cup. It'll be well rewarded if you find the winner of either, especially both of them.
What about this time of year for you? Is it a feel-good factor, or is it end of the flat season, heading into darkness? Where are you with this?
Massively love this part of the season. My favourite part. I love the autumn. We've got some massive races, you say, coming up. The Arc next weekend, the Breeders' Cup, we go international, all the big juvenile races at the back end as well. And of course, the jump season just around the corner. This, without doubt, my favourite time of the year we're going into.
And Art Weekend, that's always something really special to look forward to. It is now just round the corner. Well, there isn't a better time to sign up to the Racing Post Members Club. You can get your first 2 months for just $9.99. Check.
Are you ready to take your passion for horse racing to the next level? With Racing Post Members Club, you gain exclusive access to the best racing insights, analysis and tools. Immerse yourself in award-winning content, from interviews with the sport's biggest stars to race previews and behind-the-scenes features. Get the inside track with early access to the Racing Post digital newspaper from 9 p.m. in the evening and daily selections from our expert tipsters. Racing Post Members Club is your ultimate ticket to the thrilling world of racing. Subscribe today and pay just £9.99 per month for the first 2 months with the code SUMMER. See the link in the video description for more information. Terms apply.
One man with a busy weekend ahead of him is trainer Charlie Fellows. Alongside having runners, it's also the Henry Cecil Open weekend. Charlie, what can we expect?
Loads going on, and luckily, the weather gods have sort of looked down kindly on us because the forecast looks quite good. So hopefully that will encourage plenty of people to come and turn up. 2 days worth of events going on. Saturday, there's obviously racing up at the racecourse, but you'll have vets practices open, the British Racing School. If your kids are at all interested in horses, potentially a career in horse racing, take them up there, go and see what they do. It's the most amazing school, brilliant facility. Doesn't matter if you've never, ever sat on a horse before, they still cater for every sort of, every need. The Racing Museum in the centre of town, that is doing cut price tours around there. Again, a brilliant place to go and have a look around. And then on Sunday, few nice horses will be cantering up Warren Hill from about 8 o'clock onwards. Messrs Haggis, Gosden, Stout, amongst others, sending some quite nice kit up Warren Hill, and I'm sure they all love the sound of their own voices, so I'm sure they will be on the microphone happily talking away. So Mark Prescott on there as well. And then from 9 o'clock until midday, 24 yards opening their doors, including the likes of Roger Varian, so Eldar Eldarov, Jules St Ledger winning Eldar Eldarov, the Crisfords. Ed Crisford is particularly worried about how many people are going to show up at his yard, so I'm going to continue to plug it. The best 2-year-old in Europe is in his yard, Van Dijk. please go over there. It'll fry his head if he gets loads of people in his yard, which would be fantastic. George Bowie, probably the most upwardly mobile trainer in the country right now. He's opening his yard. And actually the Hamilton Road looks fantastic. George Scott, Stuart Williams, Ray Guest, and a few others all opening up. So there's loads and loads going on. And then after that, we will flock to the Severals, where there is the Shetland Pony Grand National, which is the first time it's ever happened this year. The celebrity show jumping has got a slightly different format this year, but is always incredibly competitive. There'll be a retired racehorse parade. And then there's lots of food, dog show, plenty of stuff for kids to do, bouncy castles, that sort of thing. So it's going to be pretty busy.
It certainly is. Now, you've been a little bit frustrated that not every trainer opens their yard. You've touched on some of the top trainers going on the gallops. Why is it? What stops them from doing that?
I think unlike Lambourne, where it is an institution and you're very much frowned upon if you don't open your yard, Newmarket has never really had that kind of sort of pull behind it. And some trainers don't like the fact that people are going around touching the horses and they worry about hygiene and stuff like that, horses getting sick. Some trainers think that Newmarket is too big and that actually certain sections of the town should be opened up each year. I don't really know. It frustrates me because I think that that we're still a sport that has a bit of an image problem. I think a lot of people don't understand horse racing. I think a lot of people think it's sort of corrupt and that it's fixed and that horses are on drugs and that all this stuff that you and I and anyone connected to the sport knows is utter tosh. But we need to tell people that, and we need to show people that, and we need to be proactive in showing people that. And if we were in a really comfortable position where prize money was through the roof, owners coming out of our ears, stable staff flocking to come and work in the industry, I'd be like, okay, fine. Well, maybe we can rest on our laurels, but we're not in that situation. The industry is not in a healthy state at the moment. And personally, I feel we should all be doing everything we can. And for 3 hours on one Sunday a year to open our doors and show people what we really do, how beautifully looked after these horses really are, how incredible the lads that look after them are and the connection that they have with the horses, and how stunning and historical the yards are that these horses are housed in, for me is not a massive penance to pay if we can encourage a few more people to own a racehorse or go into a syndicate, a few kids to maybe come and work in the industry, or a few other people to go and have a bet at the bookies.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I hear you. It is frustrating, and it's what we should be trying to achieve. How many people roughly do we expect over the weekend?
Well, we've sold over 1,000 tickets so far, which is the most we've ever sold pre weekend. We, as in numbers, we don't really know. It'll be, but in terms of, I tend to quantify it in terms of the amount of money we raise for charity, and generally we hit around the sort of £50,000 mark. Wow. We're on track to raise well over 60 grand already this year, and that's without plenty that's to be added. So we are well ahead of what we've achieved in the past, and that is a huge credit to the team that are behind it, especially at Jono Spence's team, Lucy Suarez, who's done a brilliant job, and Sophie Kavanagh. We're well on track. I think with the forecast the way it is, I'd say there'll be plenty of people here.
Brilliant. Sounds fantastic. Well, I'll definitely be popping in. Quick word on you now and some of your leading lights in the yard. Strike rate great at the moment, 31%, I think, over the last couple of weeks. Runners this weekend, you've got Garrick in the Ayr Gold Cup. A little bit about him. He'll like the ground.
So he's been an unbelievable horse this year. We picked him up at the Horse and Training Sale last year. He was rated 73, I think. He's improved and improved and improved. He's one of those horses that just loves to run. He's got a great attitude. I think he's a massive price. And I think a lot of people are looking at it thinking, well, he's blown his handicap mark. He's not competitive any longer. But actually, he ran a stormer of higher than this in the Buckingham Palace at Royal Ascot. And then on his next two starts, it has absolutely hosed it down before the race. Obviously, everyone knows what happened at Goodwood, where racing got called off. The ground was so bad. And then at Newmarket in the listed race, it did exactly the same thing. And the ground was horrible, and he just lost his action on it. He is a massive, massive price. He will love this. He's 6 furlongs. I'm convinced he's got more than enough speed for 6 furlongs. And I've got my young apprentice, Mikael Mortensen, riding him, who takes a really valuable £7 off. And I think he's a kid worth following. He's riding him incredibly well. It's his first season riding properly. He's still riding at a 14% strike rate. And that's basically with just me and George Margerson supporting him. I think he's a kid going places, and I think he's ready for a big ride like this.
Horses to look forward to. Well on for Dream, last seen in the July Cup. Will he go to the sprint on Champions Day?
So the plan with her is she's going to go Abbey and then Champion Sprint. She loves the softer the better, and it looks like being sod's law that the first art weekend run in bloody ages looks like it's going to be beautiful ground, because the forecast at the moment looks quite dry. Now that could change, but I think we'll probably run in the Abbey whatever, and then head to Champions Day after that. And she's in great order. She's had a little bit of a freshen up, and if the ground goes proper soft somewhere, she's in with a huge shout.
Quick word on Grand Alliance, second in a Group 2 at Deauville last time, entered in the Long Distance Cup on Champions Day. Is that the plan?
Yeah, annoyingly, he's had a small setback, and it means that he's probably going to be out. Well, sorry, not probably. He's not going to run for the rest of this year. He ran a cracker over in France where he was second, stepped up to just short of 2 miles for the first time. He took on I think probably the 2 best stayers in France and ran a huge race. But he has come back with a small niggle, and we've decided to pull the plug on this season, give him a proper break and start again next year. It's not a disaster, but it's just the rest of the year out.
And Marban has looked very good on a few occasions. What's an update on him?
I'm afraid Marban is no longer in my care. Marban has moved to Dubai. He's moved over to Sheikh Ahmed's team in Dubai, where he is at Jebel Ali, and he will run in the carnival. I think he's tailor-made for Meydan. He was bitterly unlucky this year. He ran a huge race at Salisbury in a sprint that has worked out incredibly well. And then nothing really went right after that. Ascot was a disaster. He had no cover and was too close to the pace. He then ran well at Goodwood. And then at Newbury, I think he just, again, a bit of a disaster. But he's sadly, he's not with me any longer. He'll run at Meydan at the carnival, and I think he'll do really well over there. He's perfect. He'll love the quick ground, and I think, hopefully he does really well for the team over there.
OK, just a couple more. Cumulonimbus has had some fun in the Racing League, giving Frankie a winner at Yarmouth.
It sounds like quite a similar story. Cumulonimbus has had an unbelievable year. Obviously won the 100 grander at Yarmouth. He had a really, really hard race at Windsor, where he was drawn wide and there was loads of pace on, and he was part of a pace battle. He came back had a long year. The plan is to send him to the horse in training sales, and I think we're going to pull the plug and send him straight there. The owners won't let him go for nothing, but if they get offered good money, then I could see him head probably down to Australia or somewhere like that. Obviously, I hope selfishly that he doesn't sell and that he stays here and has another year next year. But if he sells well, then I'll have happy owners on my hands. So I'd say unlikely that we'll see him again this year. And hopefully there's a vendor next to his name at the horse and training sale, and he comes back to me for next season.
That would be the dream. And finally, a filly, Cloudbreaker. Last seen finishing second in a listed race at Newmarket. She was 4th at Royal Ascot. Plan with her?
Her form is unbelievable this season. She ran in the listed race that Warm Heart won at Newbury, not beaten far. She then went to Ascot, where she got beaten by Desert Hero, travelled into the race as good as anything. And then she went to Newmarket and she bumped into the very good filly of Carl Burke's. So she has been bitterly unlucky this year. She's bumped into some proper horses. She had a little setback after Newmarket. Thankfully, it was nothing serious, but it meant that she missed the Goultrees at York, which had been the plan. She is touch and go to run in the Fillies Group 3 at Newmarket next weekend. I've, for the moment, forgotten the name of the race, but there's a 12 furlong Fillies Group 3 at Newmarket. She'd be touch and go. She'll get the entry. She's going to work tomorrow morning, and she probably need to work again next week, and then we'll see where we are. She's also in the Old Rowley Cup, which is a very valuable handicap, and she's obviously in the Fillies and Mares on Champions Day. Every plan's slightly up in the air. I guess I'll know more middle of next week. There's plenty of options for her. We'll definitely see her out this autumn, but where, I'm not quite sure. It depends how tomorrow morning goes, really.
Brilliant. Charlie, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you for filling us in on some of the leading members of the team. Good luck this weekend. I hope you raise tons of money, and there are lots of people that support the Newmarket weekend. I'll be definitely popping along, and we'll see you there.
Thanks a lot, Emma. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks to Charlie for that. An awful lot of work goes into this weekend behind the scenes. G-Rod, you're thinking you're going, aren't you?
Yeah, I love the weekend up at Newmarket. It's great, isn't it? Or, well, we say all of the trainers are opening their doors. I mean, some of the trainers are opening their doors, aren't they? Not all of them, unfortunately. Hopefully in the future we'll get some of the real big boys doing so. But it's a great opportunity for people like myself who don't spend too much time around stables and horses to actually go up and see the ins and outs of what goes on in these yards.
So you like to get behind the scenes and get a bit of a feel for it?
Yeah, well, as a punter, you can often just feel like you're looking at ratings and figures, and you actually forget that these are living animals that we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time looking at papers and ratings and form, and you're actually dealing with a real horse and a real, to actually go up and be with them, alongside them, spend some time around them is fantastic. I mean, my kids love going up. I would be a huge advocate of anyone who's got some spare time this weekend to go up there. It's a great day. Enjoy the weekend, and fingers crossed the weather will stay set fair, and it should be a great time.
The weather is going to be good. So yeah, lots of people will be heading there. And as I said, if you're thinking about it, go. It's really worthwhile and it's really fun. Well, let's get stuck into the action, because we need to find some winners to pay for things like this. The best of the action from Ayr and Newbury. We're going to start the 225 at Ayr. It is the Silver Cup, and Matt, this is not an easy one to start with.
It's silly. No, just before we get into that, I just want to echo exactly what Graeme was saying there. Yeah, when we try and promote what happens behind the scenes at stables, and it is absolutely fascinating and fantastic. So if you get a chance, do go. We're talking about the Silver Cup. We had 25 runners, and obviously we'll have a bit of a guide towards the Gold Cup for the draw as well. The Gulliver, how impressive was he? Back to his best last time out. He's still got plenty of room in the handicap as well. He's at 7-1. Then we've got the 1-2 recently from Doncaster last weekend. Rathbone and Jump the Gun. Mike Dean, no doubt, will be jumping around in the parade ring. If he's watching this again, he's at 8-1 on Jump the Gun. Wob at 9s, 11-1 and bigger the remainder. 25 runners spread across the track. We are 6 places each way online for this one. Wide open, as you would expect.
Robbie, I'm going to start with you. Where do we figure with the draw?
It's a bit. It seems to change year on year and between the bronze, silver, and gold cup. So I kind of just ignore it essentially because you simply just don't know. So I just try and find the best handicap horse on the day. I like horses that stay a bit further in these kind of races, 7 furlong form, and there's going to be a bit of juice in the ground as well. So I want someone that's going to handle that as well. My main selection will be Jump the Gun. He's maybe a little bit shorter than you'd like in one of these races, but I think he's got a really good profile. He's run off 80. He ran in this race last year off £10 higher. He was really unlucky 5th. He had quite a blocked run in, and he's got William Pyle claiming 5, so he's effectively £15 better off for that. He does stay a bit further. I mean, he started the season running listed races rated 96. He's down to 80, and he's £3 well in on his run at Doncaster last time, beating only a neck. I just think there's plenty to like. He goes on soft ground. Trained by a trainer, Ian Jardine, likes to target this meeting. So I think if you're getting sort of 8-1, 9-1 with quite a few places, he should be in the shake-up. He's in stall 12, so jockey's got options. I think there's plenty to like.
Regards those at the top of the market, do you think Gulliver warrants his place at the top of it?
Probably, yeah. I mean, sort of a bit of Summergand about him at the top of the Gold Cup market that we'll talk about later. He sort of bounced right back to form. We knew he was well handicapped, and he showed it at Southall last time. He deserves that position there, and he's run well at Ayr in the past, but I just thought jump the gun. He's probably just as well treated and a slightly bigger price, and also goes well at Ayr, so a little bit more to like at the prices.
G-Rod, what do you think?
Wob for me.
Yeah, that's my second choice, yeah.
Love that. It's a great name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wob.
That's what I called myself as a little boy, that.
Is it? Wob.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
True story.
Of course. Was second at Goodwood behind Rose Colin, and the third was Isla Kai. Now they've both come out and won since, so that form is very good. He went up £2 and he finished third in the Great St Wilfrid at Ripon last time. So he's absolutely banging form. He's racing off the same mark as when he was third at Ripon. And this isn't the Gold Cup course, this is slightly easier, the Silver Cup. And I think that he might have a class edge. The other one is obviously Rathbone, who's got a huge chance. He's won his last two, hasn't he, including the race at, was it Donny last time?
Sandown and Doncaster,
Yeah, so, he comes into it banging form as well. But like Rob said, there's a big unknown in the draw, and you got 25 odd horses, and you're going to need a little bit of luck, aren't you? You're going to need things to fall your way. But if it does fall Wob's way,
I made that a tongue twister.
Wob's way, yeah.
Actually, I was.
I can't. You've
win.
told me that you need a haircut, and I now can't stop looking at your hair. I feel like you should go to Ayr, and this should be the occasion
that's way north of London.
Do you ever leave London? No.
Not too often. Well, maybe to Kent, so my mum and dad's house. But one thing Rodders didn't say as well, Wob actually won his side in the Great St Wilfrid, finished first of 8 there, and he's on for the same mark. So with Holly Doyle up, there's plenty to like here. I think we got a couple of good chances.
Yes, Wob.
Will be.
Anyway, over to Newbury we go for the 240. The Dubai Duty Free Handicap. It's a 0 to 105, and it's over a mile and a quarter for 3-year-olds and upwards. Matt, how does the market look here?
Yeah, hopefully we get all 8 going to post. As I say, it's going to be testing at Newbury this weekend. We've got the Hat-Trick Seeking Topness as your favourite, Sheen Murphy, 100 to 30. I think Balance Play will appreciate getting back to a softer surface. Didn't really act at York on a quick ground. I think it could be a really good weekend. He's got lots of good chances. Rafe Beckett as well, up and down the country on Saturday. 7 to 2. Mustard at 5 to 1. And the very unexposed Le Mans at 6 to 1. For Richard Hannon. Hopefully the dead 8 do go to post. Looking outside of Mealbosk as well, 12 to 1. What do we make of him all of a sudden now this season?
It's just a very good job we haven't got Paul Keeley in the studio.
Yeah, he'd be going
because that's
in,
just
wouldn't he?
about pushed him over a cliff a few times, hasn't
Loves that horse, doesn't he, Kills?
Well, I don't think he does love it anymore.
He's given up, you think? Probably win now then, won't it?
That's what normally happens.
The one I like is Certain Lad. I think he's really well handicapped on his best form now. If you go back to May, in the Chester May meeting, he finished second behind Pride of America, who obviously runs in the Doonside Cup and has since won the John Smith's Cup. And the second that day was Savvy Victory, who is a listed winner since. So that form is really good. Certain Lad was beaten 2.5 lengths off a mark of 107. He's running here off a mark of 101, so he's £6 lower than when running that excellent race on soft ground at Chester that day. He sort of lost his way a little bit after, but he bounced right back to form last time at Sandown when he was second behind Dual Identity. It was his best run since that Chester run. He's a sort of horse, he needs a bit of cut, so I just wonder if after that excellent runner to Chester, maybe they thought, right, we'll build him up for an autumn campaign, and his form looks like that's the way. I mean, his last 4 RPRs have gone up each time, 91, 93, 105, 108, so he's steadily getting better and better, and he's peaking, and he's ready to peak, I think, Certain Lad. He loves soft ground, and he gets in here off top weight. He might just have a class edge, I think.
Yeah, totally echo what Rod has said about Certain Lad. That opens up a related double, doesn't it, later with Pride of America?
Does, yeah.
So that could be quite juicy.
One of Robbie's favourite bets, that is.
Yeah, a bet I invented famously.
Go on.
It's when 2 horses are running in different races on the same day, but the form lines coincide. So if one wins, then the other one theoretically is going to shorten, so you can maximise your returns. But anyway, his form his mark's going down, but his RPLs are going up. That's a good sign, and he's quite a big price in a race where some of these might not necessarily handle the ground. If there's one who could blow the race apart off their mark, it's probably Le Mans. A lot of code. She's only run 3 times a free roll. She's getting a lot of weight from these. if she does handle the ground, she's got a good pedigree. She's a half sister to LaSalle, the Richard Hanyon's very smart 3-year-old last season, and yeah, she's just getting so much weight. It's all about the ground with her, but I think certainly that'd be my main shout.
I agree with Matt. I think balance play is quite interesting. Was impressive at Chester and Goodwood, and then, as I say, very different conditions at York, and things just didn't play out. Ayrs 3 o'clock is the Group 3 Firth of Clyde. And Matt, I'm guessing Rakia's pretty solid, isn't she? She's been quite impressive in both of her starts.
Yeah, I love these type of races because we're betting with the horses with so much potential coming from novice company against horses they've already done it in pattern company. So we've got Rakia, who's a favourite at 5-4, so impressive at Haydock last time. Although Jim Crowley had a winner for a fortnight, lots of chances, a few seconds, but he's yet to get his head in front in the last couple of weeks. So he'll want a bit of a confidence boost. Of course, they've got Hookham in the Arc next week. We've got Great Generation, equally impressive at Chester as well for Marco Botti, unbeaten in 2. But I thought 11-2. I mean, it's an each-way steal for me, Dorothy Lawrence. I mean, you got some cracking form. She's won at the track. She was long odds-on favourite. She was a good fourth in the at York as well, and just touched off at Salisbury last time out in a Group 3. I think she has got the form. She's the top rated. I think 11-2 is a knocking each-way bet for Carl Burke, who's already off the market there this week as well. But yeah, it's potential versus that proven pattern form, which will come out on top in this one.
My guess is that both of you are going to try and take on the favourite here, because
just a bit. Just a bit.
This is not your kind of prize and not your kind of bet.
At the start of the week, she was odds on, and Pretty Crystal's 20s. Flag that up. I think Pretty Crystal's got a very big chance, even at the revised odds. She travelled very well in the Prestige Stakes at Goodwood last time behind Darnation, who came since won Group 2 really impressively at Doncaster. She handled soft ground. She didn't quite see out the final furlong there after meeting a bit of trouble in running. She's got a Cheveley Park entry. It's probably not going to run in that now. That's next week. But I think she's definitely an each-way player. And Navassa Island as well. I quite like it when Territory's progeny go on a bit of softer ground. She's not run on that surface yet. But I mean, this is also went off 5-1 for the Albany after finishing second in a Group 3 on her debut. Her form's pretty solid. She's dropped back into maiden company last time. She won by a narrow margin, but the two horses who run since, one of them won a Group 3 next time out and behind, and the second ran quite a good race in the Moyglare. So Michael O'Callaghan has sent her over. Should go on the surface. I think there'd be my two against the favourite. I think the favourite's too short. She's lower rated than a lot of these, and she's yet to prove she handles the ground. So there's two for you.
Rodders, what are you taking the favourite on with?
Yeah, I can't have the favourite, not because I don't think she's got a good chance. She clearly is a very exciting horse, but like Robbie says, she's too short, and there's other horses in here who look equally as promising as her at bigger prices. And one of them is Great Generation, Marco Botti. He doesn't have many runners up at Ayr, that's for sure. He's had one runner in this race, that was back in 2011, and he's had 5 runners at Ayr in total.
Great research.
Yeah, he doesn't run many there, and his last one was actually in 2016, so going back 7 years to find his last runner at Ayr. And there's, like we said, Matt said earlier, there's any number of big juvenile races coming up at Newmarket, aren't there, in the next 3 or 4 weeks? And he could have chosen any one of them to run this Great Generation in, so why go up to Ayr for this one? He must think that it's going to be the perfect test, and maybe that's because he thought the ground would be soft. Great Generation's got a real soft ground pedigree, German mare, Dutch art on the dam side, and Holy Roman Emperors always go with plenty of cut in the ground. Great Generation looked really good in both starts with a bit of cut in the ground, was wildly impressive in a good time last time out. Chester very strong at the finish. The more of a stamina test this becomes on the ground, the better it will suit her, because she's bred to want further as well. I think she's got a huge chance, and the softer it gets, the better.
Basically, just lay the favourite. Got a big.
Do you think the favourite might drift between now and tomorrow?
Possibly, yeah. She's already drifted a bit from Antipost. She was odds on. She's about sort of 4-6 at the start of the week. I thought that was a bit mad. You can get some odds against now. It wouldn't surprise me. It's just. I mean, she could win. It's just a classic case of like her form doesn't stand out among the rest, so you've got to take her on.
Yeah. Another classy 2-year-old race is the Dubai Duty-Free Mill Reef at Newbury. This takes place at 3:15, a Group 2 for 2-year-olds. Matt, Mr. Sketch, I guess, so impressive at Salisbury last time, will head the market.
Yeah, I think he's going to. So impressed with you saying the checkbook has been brought out by Wathan Racing to purchase this one as well at 3-2 after winning by almost 10 lengths. We've got 7 questions at 7-2 as well for George. Got a Ray at 9-2. Now when he missed out, Glorious Goodwill got off the mark at Newmarket and third on the all weather last time. And then we've got Harton, who won obviously at Goodwood. That form's been frank with Iberian winning the Betfred Champagne last weekend. He's a solid one, though he's got a penalty. And then Red Zone Hero dotted up in the nursery last weekend as well at 15-2. Hopefully the 8 go to post. It's quite precarious for each way punters this weekend. There's a few 8 and 9 runner races on that heavy ground at Newbury. Hopefully they all stand their ground and we get the 3 places. It's got a nice elite win make-up this race.
It's tricky, isn't it, when the ground is actually heavy for these 2-year-olds?
Yeah, very, very tough because obviously none of them got form on that sort of ground, have they? We haven't seen them run on that sort of ground. So
and you'll get one that suddenly improves 10 lengths because it relishes it, and one that goes backwards 10 lengths because it doesn't like it. There's
a bit of a guess involved in which ones it's going to be, won't there, as well? So very difficult. If you're going to look at a ground with juveniles, I always think the pedigree can give you a bit of an insight. And Robbie's already said that Territory's progeny do tend to act with plenty of cut in the ground. And the favourite, Mr. Sketch, is by Territories. However, 9.5 length winner at Salisbury last time out, looked great, but the time is not amazing.
And what did it beat?
And yeah, the third has been beaten twice since.
I know.
15.5 lengths.
It's owned by Chelsea Thoroughbreds. It was beaten in a nursery yesterday at Yarmouth.
Just to play
devil's advocate, the time was 1.2 seconds quicker than the second division.
Yeah, well, this is where times can get confusing, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I'll tell you why, because I've got 2 sets of different time figures, and one has this being really good time, and the top speed is only 71, and there's a few others in here who are quite a bit higher than 71. So I'm putting my faith in Dave Edwards and top speed here, and not my other set of figures that I've got. But you know, we'll find out anyway.
Safe hands.
I can't be having Mr. Sketch at such a short price anyway, as you said. And there's questions over the form of that. The other horse who will handle soft ground is Array, because he's a no never, and they love heavy ground, don't they? So he'll go on ground, and he was favourite last time out at Kempton. But I'm going to take a chance on Matters Most for Reef Beckett. It's improving, ran his best race last time out at Ripon, second in the 2-year-old trophy there. Again, he's got that sort of progressive on RPRs. He improves his RPR each time. He's got form on good to soft. He's got form on soft. So that gives hope that he'll handle conditions, and he's a lot bigger price than some of the others. But it's a bit of a guessing game, as we started the show by saying.
Yeah, Matters Most.
Robbie's not up for guessing.
Nah, certainly not. Matters Most is by advertiser. He didn't really like soft ground.
No, but he hasn't had many runners though.
It's true, yeah, because you wouldn't have thought No Nay Never ruled really. His progeny would like soft ground.
Pivotal was a great example, isn't he? I mean, Pivotal was a horse who liked fast ground, but all of his progeny tend to go on soft.
It's an interesting take. The 2 I tipped up at the start of the week have both come in, which it's no point saying now, is it? But Mr. Sketch and 7 questions on my 2. Just like Robbie was saying, Territories on soft ground. I mean, my take from that Salisbury win about Mr. Sketch was that the time was much quicker than the second division, which is a good indicator. And I think if there's a star in the field, it's him. A lot of these have had quite a few goes. 7 questions is the sort of solid one. He handles soft ground, and he's improved his RPR with all of his 6 starts. He's a here and now horse. And on his last start, I thought he probably deserved to win, to be honest, because he tried to make the run at Kempton from the widest draw. He had to squander a lot of early ground, and he was fighting back at the finish. I think he's a solid one. I think he'll run his heart out for you. So if there's a solid one, 7 questions. But if there's a potential star, Mr. Sketch.
And finally, we wrap up with the feature race of the day. It takes place at Ayr. It is the Ayr Gold Cup at 3:35. And Matt, I'm guessing Arazzi is the favourite?
Yeah, he likes to dance all these big handicap sprint dances, doesn't he, for Charles Hills? He's at 8-1. Emma, again, with 6 places each way on this one online. Over half the field are rated 100 plus. It's a brilliant contest. Some began, again, on the regular 10-1, significantly so close in the Betfred Portland at 10s. Rohan, he's becoming a attractive handicap 11-1. And Elise Dancer targeted at this race. Jack Murray Parr owner Kevin Ryan trains. He's at 12-1. I think he'll be certainly there pitching at the business end, but again, wide open, as you'd expect, for £180,000 in winning place prize money.
Oh, you two. This is the kind of race you both love. Rodders, let's start with you.
Yeah, great, love it. The problem is, I think the favourite will win, Orazio.
Oh, wow.
So when you look at a race like this, 25 runners, and you think, I'll get my teeth stuck into that, I'll find a nice big price, and then you land on the favourite. It's a bit disappointing.
But we don't mind an 8-1 winner. Let's be serious.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I don't back him, because I generally don't like backing favourites in these sorts of races, huge fields, anything can happen, could be on the wrong side of the track for a start. I don't like backing favourite. If I don't back him and he wins at 8-1, I'll be kicking myself. Of course I will. But nevertheless, I think he'll win. He's better than a handicapper in my book. He looked like a group class sprinter this season. He was good on soft ground. He's been good on good to firm ground. Yes, he bombed out last time at Goodwood, but the ground was absolutely atrocious, wasn't it, in the Stewards' Cup? I mean, that wasn't soft. It was bottomless, and they cancelled the card, didn't they, after that? So you can forget that run. And I think you're looking at a group horse in a handicap, Orazio. So I think he'll win.
I've got two for you. Significantly, quite short again, second favourite now. But he's just really refound his sort of mojo lately for Julia Camacho. He was rated 105 in his pomp for Colbert back in the day, and he's just worked his way back to form. Really good second in the Portland. He's £2 well in on that run. A week ago, he can handle quick turnarounds. He's got form on soft. He's got form at Ayr. So I think there's plenty to like there. And the other one at a slightly big price was Fast Response. Quite an interesting filly. I've read at the end of last season she was being reportedly aimed for the Prix de l'Abbé. The fact that she's rated 103 now suggests, and she ran a handicap, suggests that that's probably out the window. But she does like a bit of ease in the ground. She does stay a bit further. I like that. And she's got Brandon Wilkie, who's a pretty decent £7 claimer, taking 7 off. So she's essentially off 96. And her last start, she was a really good second at Chester on soft ground to Mitt Barhi, who's a horse I think can run quite well in the Champion Sprint at Ascot. So I think I'll kit myself if she goes and wins. And she's pretty fairly priced, I'll say. There's two.
Quick word on Charlie Fellows' Garrick. He was really sweet earlier.
Yeah, I fancied that horse when it ran early in the season at Haydock or Newbury, one of those two, I can't remember. And there was a lot of money for him, a big old price. He was 100-1 and then he came in at 21, but he was well beaten. He ran a big figure at Chester earlier in the season, so I think he's got the ability there. And Charlie's fairly keen on him, isn't he? A big
really,
old price.
Yeah.
So I see that running well. It's probably worth mentioning a few others. Significantly, he's got a good chance. He was beaten a short head, wasn't he, by NF last time?
He was, yeah.
And obviously Summergand we should give a mention to. Last year's winner. What a horse Summergand is.
Brilliant.
Amazing horse, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he is going to be thereabouts again.
Thereabouts, as he is in all these top handicaps.
He's £3 wrong at the weights would concern me. I mean, I've not been on the right side of him in his resurgence, unfortunately. But I mean, he's everyone's favourite horse in the field, isn't it? It'd be a real piece of history if he gets it done. But I don't know, off 107, I mean, it's a big ask.
Well, that's the thoughts of the team on the Ayr Gold Cup. 3:35, the feature race at Ayr tomorrow. Well, before we get stuck into our weekend bets, go check out racingpost.com/free bets. See how you may be able to win £200 of free bets. So let's start with you, Matt. Best bet of the weekend?
Oh, it's just a weird one. There's nothing I really want to properly have a good go at, and I'll keep it dry for next weekend. But there's three that I do think will go close that I do like. Dorothy Lawrence, as I mentioned, I think it'll be really hard to keep out the frame in the Firth of Clyde. I thought Marshall Dan had a squeak in the 4:25 at Newbury as well. Goes well fresh, likes Newbury, likes digging the ground. A bit worried about the trainer form there. But I think the one I did say it could be a really good weekend. He's got so many chances up and down the country, as Rafe Beckett and Salt Bay, who was placing Group 1 last year. He's had 2 starts so far this season. I think soft ground may be the key to him. In a handicap at 205 at Newbury, Salt Bay for Rafe Beck, what could be a very good day for the trainer.
Oh, interesting. I know that horse well. Followed it. I think they thought big things of him. Soft ground, I think, is definitely going to be a key factor for him. Matt, thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. Best bets. Start with you, Rodders.
2:15 at Newmarket. Canoodled. Absolutely loves Newmarket. Last 3 wins have come at the track. 2 on the Rolling Mile, 1 on the July course. Last time out at Haydock, an absolute knockout eye-catcher run. There's never been as good around the bend, this horse, but started slowly, was out the back in an impossible position, absolutely flew home to finish third. Might well have won in a couple more strides. Now back at Newmarket, going to be a huge player, Canoodled 2:15.
Yeah, I was going to take on Salt Bay at Newbury.
Have you been, either of you?
No,
You've watched him
not,
on YouTube.
Yeah.
She's got a reference. I think that's a big ask of 105 for Salt Bay. It's going to be really hard work at Newbury. I want a proven stayer on my side. Get Shirty for me. He's down to 97. He won the old Borough Cup at Haydock on soft ground off 105 last season. He's just dropped back to winning. He's a David O'Mara horse who's just creeping down the weights. We've seen how that's paid off this season with Summergan and Gulliver, and we just know he's going to stay as a couple of these might sort of stepping up in trip on slightly different ground conditions, and he's the outside of the field at the early prices, so Get Shirty for me in the 205 at Newbury.
Okay, well, I'm going to Newmarket, 4:35. I like the chances of a filly called Chelsea Green. She was third in the listed race in France last time. She's got winning form at Newmarket. Any rain that still keeps coming, we hope, at Newmarket will definitely suit her. And I think she's quite an interesting one there. You might go to the Newmarket Open weekend.
Yeah, I'll try and
get
there on Sunday. I might go racing on Saturday as well. It's not that far from me, so I'll definitely be in and around Newmarket this weekend.
Yeah.
And I look forward to it. Yeah, it should be a really good weekend, and I hope that all goes well for Charlie Fellows and the lads.
And Robbie, when I next see you, you're going to have had a haircut.
Fresh skin fade, hopefully.
Yeah.
When am I next on? Do you know, Gaffer?
No, I don't actually know, but I will expect you to be coming in. With
it's
a
results based. It depends on
Barnet.
the outcome of your tips this weekend.
It's been since before I went on a cruise, and that was quite a long
I
time.
bet you go to one of those barbers where they serve you drinks and all that, don't you? I could see you at one
Yeah,
of
but
those.
they try and serve me plastic bottles, not having that.
Oh,
man.
no.
It's just not sustainable, is it? What am I doing this weekend? You didn't ask, but I'll tell you.
Oh, sorry. I didn't get that
A
far.
little bit rude, but going to Battersea, day out in Battersea on Sunday.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet, but
But you're just going there regardless.
just knocking about. Yeah,
Fancy.
it's quite fancy around
the
power station now. Yeah, got an ice rink. I don't know if that's in.
It's a bit early for
Do you
that,
get the
isn't it?
skates on?
I could do. I'm not the most agile. I did have dyspraxia when I was a little boy, so a little wob. But yeah, that's about it really. Maybe go to cinema or something. Yeah, yourself?
Good stuff. I am going to Newmarket to watch Chelsea Green run tomorrow. I am show jumping on Sunday, but I'd also like to pop into the Henry Cecil Open weekend if I can, along with the masses that will be there supporting it. Thank you very much, both of you. I will be back next Friday, live on What a Shout.